The first day of school is quickly approaching. How teachers are preparing for students to come back into the classroom.
Plus, almost all new COVID infections are due to the Delta variant. Those numbers, according to the CDC, coming up.
And why an emergency migrant shelter is going up in McAllen this morning.
Connecting the Brazos Valley, this is Good Morning Texas.
The upcoming school year begins with some uncertainty, but school districts are trying to bring back a sense of normalcy to students. Good morning, I'm Joey Horta.
And I'm Paige Ellenberger. KRHD News reporter Brittany DeFran caught up with administrators to see how they're preparing. Brittany, good morning.
Good morning, Joey and Paige. That's right. The day is almost here, the first day of school, that is. Teachers and students are preparing for the big day. Now, there won't be any major changes when it comes to the pandemic, but academically, students should expect a small shift. House Bill 4545 passed in the 87th legislative session, now requiring school districts to provide extensive tutoring for students who scored low on the STAR exam. Administrators face this as a bit of a challenge due to the already established struggle to find new hires. But districts like Caldwell ISD were able to shift time and utilize retired teachers to make it happen. Teachers are preparing to welcome their students' smiling faces without a mask, but they are continuing to utilize other mitigation efforts where it's needed.
We were able to create an accelerated learning period of 43 minutes during the school day. And those students who weren't successful on the STAR test will have opportunities to receive that tutoring and small group instruction.
We do have smaller class sizes. Primarily, the plexiglass would be most appropriate in our elementary classes that remain in a class all day long, with the same students.
One thing many schools have gone away with is the option of virtual learning. This seems to be an emergency alternative if students are sick or must miss class. The first day of school for Caldwell ISD is August 17th. In Bryan, Brittany DeFran, KRHD News.
Let's get an update on the weather. We've seen a lot of changes out there recently. We've had some rain in the forecast. Are we still doing that this week?
Yeah, in fact, we're waking up to a few showers right now across the Brazos Valley. A few of those light rain showers off to the west of Bryan College Station, out towards Lee County, also down towards Brenham. Again, these are just some light rain showers, and that's about all we'll see today is one or two pockets of little rain that kind of move through. About a 20 to 30% chance today. The main disturbance is going to be passing to our west over towards San Antonio. So that's where the bigger rain chances will be, but we'll be on the edge of it just enough to get a few of those showers and thunderstorms going. Let's walk you through time here on Future Track, show you what to expect as we continue through the rest of your Thursday. Again, some pop-up showers possible. I think a lot of that misses us to the west. We'll have the clouds kind of off and on. I think today will be a cloudier day than what we saw, say, yesterday. Then we get into Friday, and we'll actually keep the rain chances going on Friday as well. With this moisture just doesn't want to get out of here, at least until we get into the weekend. That's when high pressure will build back in and start to clear things out. You can see it there on extended Future Track, that sunshine trying to build back in Saturday on into Sunday. We get into Tuesday, and that's when the sea breeze may build back in, bringing in some small rain chances at least by the time we head into your Tuesday and Wednesday. But overall, this next week looks to be a drier pattern than, say, what we saw this week, which kept those rain chances around. Today, we get into the lower 90s. Again, this is below normal. Our normal this time of year, closer to around 97, 98 degrees, record of 106 in 1951. Then tonight, we dip down into those 70s, and as you look at that 10-day forecast, we'll call for a high of 93 officially today, a 20% chance of rain. Same coming up on Friday at 94. Saturday, we'll raise temperatures a hair up to 96 with those small chances of rain. Should dry out Sunday and Monday with temperatures climbing up towards around 97. And then next week looks to be drier, though we do have some spotty rain chances both Tuesday and Friday. I think a lot of us end up missing out with that, though, and temperatures will be climbing up towards that 98-degree mark as we head into next week. So this little break that we have right now, it's going away. Here comes the heat again.
All right, Josh, thank you. The coronavirus hit a new record a week faster than expected. Johns Hopkins University saying more than 200 million cases of COVID-19 have been reported around the world. The World Health Organization had predicted that number wouldn't be reached for another week. The highest numbers of new cases reported in the U.S., India, Indonesia, Brazil, and Iran. Almost all new COVID infections in the U.S. are caused by the Delta variant. According to the CDC, Delta accounts for more than 93% of new cases reported during the last 2 weeks of July. In parts of the Midwest and Great Plains states, that number is even higher at more than 98%. At the end of May, the Delta variant only caused about 3% of new COVID infections.
This latest surge in COVID-19 cases comes just as travel was getting back to pre-pandemic levels. Now some are wondering if their vacation plans could be in trouble. Consumer reporter John Matarese has the steps you can take if you're planning a trip so you don't waste your money.
Just when we started traveling again, booking airline tickets, casino vacations, and even cruises, the COVID Delta variant started spreading. So what should we do now? Airports are bustling, hotels are booking up, and travel has returned.
I can't wait to get out and just relax.
But that return to travel normalcy is now threatened. Mask requirements are returning. The U.S. has extended Canadian border restrictions, and it's urging travelers to avoid Spain, Portugal, and many other countries. Even within the U.S., doctors suggest parents avoid taking unvaccinated children to crowded places or COVID hot zones. And from the Doesn't That Stink file, booking a vacation without travel insurance. With so many unknowns right now, you might have to change your plans. So Condé Nast travelers suggest purchasing cancel for any reason insurance, or you may not get a refund from that hotel or resort. Doesn't that stink? Fortunately, airlines are still letting most travelers change flights to a later date without penalty, mostly because they don't want people flying sick. Travel agents say go ahead and book that trip, but make sure you get a refund if you have to cancel so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese, 25 News.
Right now, the Biden administration is creating a plan that mandates vaccinations for nearly all foreign visitors to the U.S. Now, that's according to a White House official who adds some exceptions will be made. Work on this plan is in the early stages, and an official announcement is not expected anytime soon. There haven't been any changes to the current travel restrictions due to the Delta variant of COVID-19. And a new survey finds most unvaccinated Americans believe COVID-19 vaccines are more dangerous than the actual disease. 14% of the 1,500 people polled said they will definitely not get vaccinated. That's the same number back in December, despite a recent surge in new cases.
Happening this morning, a temporary emergency shelter is going up in McAllen for migrants taken there by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. It comes after overcrowding at the Catholic Charities Respite Center and the mayor's declaration of a local disaster. Upwards of 1,900 migrants are being processed in McAllen now, and city leaders also want the federal government to offer more relief to help with a large number of migrants being dropped off there. And U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents are using body cameras now. CBP's effort to use this technology started in 2014 after an Obama-era review of the agency's use of force incidents. And the rollout of cameras will start along the southern and northern borders, followed by certain ports of entry. The agency expects to deploy about 6,000 cameras by the end of the year.
The Senate has finally finalized the finishing touches on a bipartisan infrastructure package. The over 2,700-page bill, officially titled the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, will now face an amendment process as senators from both parties seek to add provisions to the main bipartisan bill. There's already billions in new funding, including $110 billion for America's roads and bridges, $39 billion in funding for public transit, and $66 billion for rail. Also in the package, $65 billion for rolling out broadband internet to underserved communities, and $55 billion in funding for water infrastructure. With such a high price tag, Republicans are quick to tout the sources of funding.
This is paid for. This is not going to raise taxes on people.
The bill, paid for by a variety of sources, including repurposing over $200 billion in COVID-19 relief funding and money from the 26 states that chose to end a federal $300 supplemental unemployment check early. But those are just the top lines. It will take days, if not weeks, for the public to read through the thousands of pages to truly understand what's in it.
You can just look at the number of inches of the document in front of me. It is significant.
Still ahead this morning, nearly 1,400 accidents across the Lone Star State due to road rage. Tips on how to avoid dangerous drivers when Good Morning Texas returns.
The city of College Station is searching for a man wanted in a road rage shooting. Police now reminding people to be aware of aggressive driving. The state of Texas is second to Florida for states with the most road rage cases with firearms. TxDOT reports nearly 1,400 accidents across the state involved road rage back in 2020. 9 of those cases were fatal.
If somebody is obviously driving more aggressively and doing something that they shouldn't, the safest thing to do is to disengage from that, separate yourself as much as possible.
Speeding, cutting people off, and using a shoulder lanes to pass are all signs of aggressive driving. The Dolman law firm says there are several ways to avoid road rage and aggressive driving, like not returning rude gestures, avoiding eye contact, putting distance between you and other drivers, taking less crowded routes, planning ahead, and leaving early.
We're traveling in the right lane here on 281 northbound, and they tried to make a right turn onto the FM road right here and didn't even get over into the turn lane. They were traveling at a speed way too fast to try to maneuver that curve and went into the metal utility pole.
At least 10 people were killed in Encino on Wednesday when a van carrying nearly 30 people crashed. According to the Department of Public Safety, that van was traveling at a high rate of speed, and when the driver tried to make a turn, that's what went wrong. The van flipped and it crashed into a utility pole. Brooks County Sheriff Benny Martinez says most of the passengers were undocumented immigrants. DPS and the Sheriff's Office now working with the Mexican consulate to identify those in the van.
MARITZA McClendon broke barriers at the 2004 Athens Games as the first Black American woman to qualify for the U.S. Olympic swim team, going on to win a silver medal in the 4x100 freestyle relay. But during that time, she struggled to use tight-fitting regulation swim caps to cover her hair.
So when you have a company like Soul Cap who comes up with a solution, it's pretty disappointing that there's an international organization out there that will continue to keep that barrier up.
The International Swimming Federation, or FEMA, which is the administrative body for aquatic sports for the Olympics, has recently come under fire for its rejection of a cap that swimmers like MARITZA say would be more comfortable for Black swimmers. Soul Cap's product allows more room for those with natural hair. FEMA said the caps do not follow the natural form of the head.
I think that is extremely hurtful. It's definitely sending a message, especially to people who have natural hair, people of color. You don't belong at the elite level.
FEMA has since apologized and is reconsidering its decision. But now the organization has also caught the attention of U.S. lawmakers, like Senator Cory Booker, who is also lending his voice along with the support of over a dozen senators urging for more inclusion in the sport.
This is an area for lawmakers and policy to continue what has been an American tradition of people taking steps to work against discrimination in sports, discrimination in other areas of society that affected people based upon gender or race or religion. It's fundamental to the ideals of our country.
FEMA says it will allow the company behind Soul Cap to reapply for use at the elite level, but that won't be in time for the Olympic Games underway in Tokyo. Either way, for McClendon and those who've come after her, it's representation that matters most.
The wonderful thing about where we are today with diversifying the sport is that we're starting to think about what is it that prevents Black people from swimming. And one of those issues is hair.
Coming up, Disney's Star Wars Hotel is up and running now. The Out of This World prize. It'll cost you to stay the night in a galaxy far, far away. Happy Friday Eve, Brazos Valley. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today's National Oyster Day. Oysters tend to take on the characteristics of the water in which they live, so they're typically named after the body of water in which they grow. More oysters are produced in Chesapeake Bay than in any other body of water in the world. Globally, nearly 2 billion pounds of oysters are eaten annually, and only in 10,000 oysters, only 1 in 10,000, I should say, produce a pearl. But hey, you might get lucky.
If you are lucky. Well, check this one out. It's an Olympic maze set in a field in Bavaria, Germany. Every year, a family creates a design for visitors to walk through. This year's theme is the Tokyo Summer Games. The designs are mowed by father and son. The rest of the family guides visitors to find hidden symbols, play games, and help with quiz questions.
It's going to cost you an out-of-this-world price to stay at Disney World's new Star Wars hotel. The rates vary depending on the date of your stay and extras. But the pricing model is similar to that of Disney's cruise ships. It's a set price for your stay and admission to Disney's Hollywood studios. Food and beverages, except for alcohol, are included. And a sample cabin rate for the 2 nights at the hotel for 4 people is $6,000. Disney calls it a revolutionary and immersive Star Wars experience. The hotel opens up next spring. It better be revolutionary for that price.
$6,000.
We're going to start a GoFundMe, guys.
For 2 nights.
Jeez.
Chewbacca himself better be there.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. It's Disney.
They need the whole cast of characters.
I need to wake up to them, yeah. To Baby Yoda.
Yikes.
I wouldn't want to wake up to Darth Vader, though.
No.
Jeez. No.
Anyways,
right,
back in this galaxy, Josh,
what's up?
What's the weather looking like?
Well, we were tracking that smoke out there yesterday. We still have it in the atmosphere today. You can see it there, that little yellow concentration being that moderate concentration that's in place. But today we should see that improve because we'll get southerly winds kicking up again, and that'll eventually bring some clearer air our way. It's also going to bring up that humidity too and bring us a small chance of rain. We're waking up to temperatures in the mid-70s and lower 80s right now, so a lot of that humidity has worked back in. That's why we're waking up to these temperatures on the warmer side. And we are also tracking a few showers. You can see some of those showers that are out there this morning out towards Lexington, Giddings, down through Brenham. Nothing in Bryan College Station at this time. Not going to be surprised if you encounter some on your morning commute. Overall, though, the chance of rain will be on the lower end today. I'm going to give us about a 20 to 30% chance of rain because there is a little disturbance sitting here west of San Antonio that's lifting up to the north, and that may be enough to kick off some showers and some thunderstorms later on today. You can see how it plays out on Future Track. Future Track not even picking up what's going on now. It does show the potential, at least for a spot shower, as we continue through the rest of your Thursday. I think a lot of us end up missing out, though. We'll give it about a 20% chance of rain. We head into Friday and things dry out, and once we get into the afternoon, we'll watch for another chance of showers and thunderstorms, and we'll keep those isolated chances going on into the first part of your weekend. Again, I think many of us miss out, but still, at least some 20% chances holding on. Once we head into the weekend, though, that dry air will build back in under high pressure. We'll start to see some sunshine Sunday. We'll try to keep it around for Monday, but by Tuesday, as that high weakens a little bit, we'll bring in the chance for at least some sea breeze showers and thunderstorms. Although, again, this is going to be a small chance, around 20 to 30% chance. We don't have any big rain chances on the way, at least in the 10-day forecast. Highs today, they stay below normal. We'll talk about low 90s on the way. Normally should be at 97 this time of year, and we have been as warm as 106 in 1951. 93 for your high today, a 20% chance of rain, 94 for Friday, and 96 for Saturday. We'll continue through the week and get into the upper 90s Sunday and Monday. Looks like we're going to be heading towards that 98-degree mark later on next week as those temperatures start to heat back up. So the break we're seeing from the heat right now, it ain't going to last.
Paying for it later. Josh, thanks for that. And happy Friday Eve, Brazos Valley.
We have more news coming up for you, and Good Morning Texas returns. As COVID cases rise, so does the uncertainty of going back to school, how teachers are preparing for students.
Plus, a former College Station assistant police chief lands herself a new role.
And we have an update this morning on the Splashtown Hurricane Harbor chemical spill. It's Thursday, August 5th, and Good Morning Texas continues right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley, this is Good Morning Texas.
Right now, we're less than 10 days away from students and teachers returning to the classroom for yet another unusual year. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Joey Horta.
And I'm Paige Ellenberger. KRHD News reporter Brittany Dufresne explains how people are preparing for their return. Brittany, good morning.
Good morning, Joey and Paige. That's right. Teachers and students are preparing for this upcoming school year. Many COVID guidelines look to stay the same, but one thing students should expect is more in-depth instruction for those who struggled on the STAR exam.
It's that feeling many students can relate to.
And a little nervous and excited at the same time.
But this is something we may not see a lot of this school year.
I'm wearing a mask to be safe.
Gmt Krhd is proud to share he will continue to wear his mask throughout the school year. Although rules and regulations may change around him, he says he's prepared to take it head on.
This year I'll feel much more prepared because I went through a whole year with wearing my mask, but still, like, it's still going to be different because there's going to be changes throughout the year.
As for his mom, Tracy Krhd, she's excited to help him get acquainted with his new surroundings. This was something she missed out on last year.
You know, we're coming up on next week. We start all of the back to school stuff. So the open houses, the classroom stuff, which we did not get to do last year. So that is going to be something that I know as a parent, we're looking forward to.
While teachers and administrators are busy preparing, now they have an added challenge. House Bill 4545 passed in the 87th legislative session, now requiring school districts to provide extensive tutoring.
So we were able to create an accelerated learning period of 43 minutes during the school day, and those students who weren't successful on the STAR test will have opportunities to receive that tutoring and small group instruction.
While school districts can no longer require masks, they are continuing to utilize other mitigation efforts where it's needed.
We do have smaller class sizes. Primarily, the plexiglass would be most appropriate in our elementary classes that remain in a class all day long, with the same students.
One thing many schools have gone away with is the option of virtual learning. This seems to now be more of an emergency alternative rather than an option for students to take throughout the school year. In Bryan, Brittany DeFran, KRHD News.
Thanks, Brittany. A former College Station assistant police chief now making history with a new leadership role. Brandy Norris, who recently retired, was sworn in as the new chief of law enforcement at the TABC. Chief Norris joined the TABC overseeing its criminal intelligence unit just 7 months ago. She retired from College Station PD following a 23-year career.
If you take care of your people will take care of you. And I've come to learn that if you just give people an opportunity to talk and give them an ear for them to talk to, that even if you can't fix the problem, it means a lot for them to just know that you take the time to listen to them.
According to the TABC, this appointment marks the first time in Texas history that a woman has been designated with such a high leadership role over a statewide police force. Despite not having a named storm for nearly a month, experts say the Atlantic hurricane season has no signs of slowing down. We've already had 5 named storms, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, is saying conditions are still set for an above-average hurricane season. According to the latest outlook, 15 to 21 named storms are expected, including the 5 that we've already had. So we got a few more to go.
Oh, yeah. We're
Not
still
over
early
yet.
in hurricane season.
Yeah. What is it, November, right, that it ends?
It goes through a good portion of the fall. I don't know the exact month off the top of my head anymore right now because it's close to...
It's early.
Yeah. Somewhere between 5 and 7 a.m. right now. My brain doesn't work till, 7:15.
I feel you. Can you remember what this forecast looks
I can't
like?
remember the forecast.
Okay.
I can do that. We're talking about the chance of a few showers as we go through the day today. Mid-70s you're waking up to this morning, 74 in Bryan, 80 degrees in College Station, even some 81s there in Snook, and still feeling like the mid-80s. So it is a humid start to the day with a nice little dry air we had in place yesterday morning. Not in place this morning. The humidity's trying to work back in, and in some cases that's turning into a few showers. You can see them there over towards Burleson, Lee County, back down into Washington County, just outside of Bryan College Station. Could see 1 or 2 in the metro area as we continue into this morning, although I think a lot of us will end up missing out. You're just going to have the potential of one today because we've got a little disturbance to see in there southwest of San Antonio. That's where you're seeing the lightning. That's going to be lifting up to the north. So I think as that passes by us today, we'll have at least a chance for a stray shower or thunderstorm, maybe some isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms during the heating of the day. Future track shows you're going to cloud up. The potential is there for a few of those showers and thunderstorms, but it's about 20 to 30% chance. So many of us will actually end up missing out on this rain chance. I don't see substantial rain chances working in at any point in the 10-day forecast. Just a few of these pop-up showers and thunderstorms possible through at least Saturday and then things should start to dry out a little bit for Sunday and Monday. We'll try to bring back the sea breeze as we head into the start of next week as high pressure backs off a little bit, but notice a lot of it dying before it gets to the Brazos Valley. So these are just small rain chances pretty much each and every afternoon. Once we get into next week, at least 1 or 2 afternoons, some of those could work into the Brazos Valley. It's not a great rain chance by any means. Today's highs get into the lower 90s. They normally should be around 97 this time of year. We'll officially call for a high of 93, 20% chance of rain, 94 on Friday and 96 on Saturday. We head into the rest of the 10-day forecast, and we're talking about temperatures climbing up towards 98 again, which means that heat that we've had a break from, it's not going to stay away. It's coming back through the weekend and next week.
All right, Josh, thank you. Turning now to a KRHD News update. Splashdown Hurricane Harbor says improper installation of a water filtration system is the cause of a chemical exposure that injured dozens of people last month. Officials with Six Flags say an unidentified third-party company improperly installed a part in the filtration system. Over 200 people have joined a lawsuit against Six Flags due to the chemical exposure. The park is set to reopen today.
The new report from the Texas Tribune now says that Texas energy companies are donating more to state lawmakers than in recent years, including Brazos Valley State Senator Charles Schwertner and Governor Abbott, along with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. The report says 5 of the largest companies donated around $500,000 after the previous session. A University of Texas professor is saying that the energy companies rewarded lawmakers after some say the companies got off easy following the winter storm.
Millions of people are carrying the stress and symptoms of COVID-19. They're referred to as COVID-19 long haulers. Ivanka Hall is one of them.
The brain fog, the muscle aches, the chills, just not being able to remember simple words.
She's sharing her COVID-19 battle with others as part of a support group for members of the Black community in Cleveland, Ohio.
You may have symptoms that mirror other people, like a lot of our symptoms in the group, like, the hair loss, the brain fog, some of the other things that are going on.
Dawn Poland is a mental health professional and coordinator of the group. She says it's important to provide a safe space for survivors to share their stories.
It's a great opportunity to support and advocate and to give back to our community and let them know that they're not alone and that people understand and that it's different for our people, for Black people, than it is for other cultures.
Dawn says some members battle depression and anxiety more than a year after defeating COVID-19. Her focus is making sure long haulers don't suffer in silence.
Food scarcity is an ongoing problem for Puerto Rico. The territory imports 85% of its food. With recent natural disasters and the pandemic, Puerto Rico is exploring ways to achieve food sustainability. Puerto Rico, you come here to relax, enjoy, and indulge in local food.
Well, the Puerto Rican food culture in here is becoming very different than what it used to be.
While the cuisine may be local, the ingredients aren't. Puerto Rico is an island, and like many nations, most other goods need to be imported. According to the USDA, Puerto Rico imports about 85% of all its food. Only 15% of food is produced locally.
I think right after Maria, we were forced to realize that we were actually a very poor nation.
This is our receiving area.
Which is why Denise Santos, president of Banco de Alimentos, a food bank dedicated to solving food scarcity in Puerto Rico, says the hurricanes and pandemic caused several food scarcity problems within the territory.
So anything that happens with the food, with the shipping industry has a direct and immediate impact on our food supply. A labor issue with the cargo drivers took about 3 or 4 days before it was resolved. So these were 3 or 4 days where we had no containers moving out of the ports. So that created scarcity in the supermarkets.
Denise and others across Puerto Rico want to battle food scarcity by the territory growing its own food.
The government has to help the farmers become sustainable.
Puerto Rican farmers no longer receive government subsidies. As of May 2020, the island only had about 2,900 acres of usable public land available for leasing and farming. That's less than 1% of land on the island.
Hi, my name is Efren Robles. I'm from Frutos del Guacabo in Manatí, Puerto Rico.
Efren was originally a mechanic and is now a farmer. He's spreading the techniques on more sustainable farming.
So what we do is that we do research in here at the facility and we pass that information to farmers and some chefs.
After Hurricane Maria in 2017, the USDA says Puerto Rico lost 37% of its farms. Because of that loss, Efren's farm works with more than 50 other associates, teaching them the future of farming in Puerto Rico using hydroponics and other methods.
Using the different technologies such as hydroponic, and also we have the constancy because we work with about 50 farmers that produce the same amount of products. So with that way of producing, we can definitely compete against the importation.
But these methods aren't just for Puerto Rico. Efren says this can be used for other communities across the country that experience food shortages.
Going back to Hurricane Maria, right after the first people that start producing food were the hydroponics.
With increase in farming, Denise is starting to incorporate more local farmers like Efren and her food bank.
Basically balance our food distribution so that 25% of the food that we distribute is from local growers.
Together, they hope this could be the first step towards food sustainability for Puerto Rico. I'm Thomas Hoppo reporting.
Coming up this morning, Alaska Airlines offering some really cheap flights to Hawaii. How much you'll be able to save on a trip to paradise. You're watching KRHD.
All right, I'm excited about this one. Target announced it's joining forces with Ulta Beauty to bring mini shops into certain locations. The shop-in-shop concept will be located near the existing Target Beauty section and will feature more than 50 cosmetic brands. The joint venture, called Ulta Beauty at Target, launches this month in more than 100 Target stores and online at target.com. And Alaska Airlines is offering cheap flights for those planning their fall getaways. The airline is having its biggest sale of the year with fares as low as $39 for one-way flights. To get the deals, passengers must be traveling between September 7th and November 17th or between November 30th and December 15th. Now those deals end tonight. And starting this week, some of the messages you see on WhatsApp will be pulling a disappearing at. The app announced it's rolling out a new View Once feature for photos and videos. The feature is supposed to give users more control over their privacy. Once their receiver opens the photos and videos, they will disappear from the chat.
Millions of Americans are being hit with some major changes to their flood insurance. FEMA recently overhauled the way they charge property owners for flood protection. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. Such is life by the sea, a fog of uncertainty that often hangs heavy over coastal communities nationwide.
You're at the edge of the earth, you're in God's country. The rules are very, very, very different.
Over the years, Gordon Peabody has learned to respect the water.
Well, a surge will take you even over my hand.
As a coastal consultant, he's helped develop innovative techniques for protecting property owners. Ideas like this wall of pylons that diverts waves when they come in.
The wave energy comes in and then it's divided. That some of it goes that way and some of it goes that way.
The shorelines that Gordon walks are here in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Like many communities, they've seen their share of floods, from hurricanes to rising sea levels. As a result, FEMA has paid out hundreds of millions of dollars in flood insurance claims to property owners. The money pays for things like dune restoration and raising homes out of harm's way.
It helps the property owners with their insurance because they're going to be safe, but it totally transforms neighborhoods.
But the rates that people across the country pay for flood insurance are changing. FEMA has rebranded their flood insurance program, calling it Risk Rating 2.0. Insurance rates are now based on factors like a homeowner's distance to the water, types of flood exposure, and the cost of replacing a building. The higher a building's cost, the more expensive the premium, and vice versa. It's not just coastal communities impacted by these changes. Some 13 million Americans live in flood zones, be it by the ocean, a river, or just a small stream.
What FEMA is saying is that the closer you are to the source of flooding, the higher your rates are going to be.
Shannon Holst is a floodplain specialist. She sees these changes as a major benefit to homeowners and business owners alike.
I do think that this is an important change because they are coming up to speed with the rest of the private market.
We also have this area here.
Back in Provincetown, building inspector Ann Howard is working almost daily on flood plans.
And it's paying off. I got to tell you, I'm exhausted still. It's a lot of work. It's an awful lot of work.
Efforts to manage climate change here have been decades in the making. Hard work that's paying off. FEMA recently dropped the entire flood risk rating for this town, meaning flood insurance rates here will drop by as much as 10%. And Howard sees this as the kind of model other cities and towns should emulate.
What we are demonstrating to FEMA by that is we are paying attention to substantial improvements, substantial damage to buildings.
Around here, they know there's no controlling the sea. Instead of ignoring the changes that are rolling in, this town is meeting the waves head on.
Everywhere we're living on borrowed time, but, you know, up against Mother Nature, you're really living again on borrowed.
In Provincetown, Massachusetts, I'm Chris Conti.
A chameleon thought to be extinct has been found. Coming up next, we're telling you about the world's rarest species of chameleon. Stick with us. You're watching Good Morning Texas.
If you'd like to connect with KRHD online, pull out your phone, open the camera app, and scan the QR code on your screen. A notification banner will pop up at the top of your phone screen, and just tap that banner to access our website and all of our social media accounts. Take a look at this. Mattel has 6 new Barbie dolls to honor individuals who are leading the fight against COVID-19. These one-of-a-kind dolls here feature the likeness of Amy O'Sullivan, a nurse who treated the first COVID-19 patient in Brooklyn and became ill herself. There's also Professor Sarah Gilbert, who helped develop the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. These Barbie dolls are part of Mattel's Thank You Heroes program. Scientists say they found one of the world's rarest species of chameleon in Malawi. And Chapman's pygmy chameleon was actually thought to have gone extinct due to deforestation. But a team from the South African National Biodiversity Institute and the museums of Malawi found this animal in the 3 forest patches there. And this chameleon blends into the leaves and only grows to about 2 inches. Just a little guy. He's tiny. Gotta watch out.
Chubby chameleon too,
yeah,
right?
So too.
He needs to start getting some steps in. What? There's a step right there. What's going on with our forecast?
Well, if you want to get a walk in this morning, it's not too bad. We're talking about more of a humid morning, though. Mid-70s as you're waking up. Lower 80s across our southern parts of the viewing area, including College Station at 80 degrees. 81 also in Snook. You're in the low 70s if you're watching us up towards Highway 79, though. And we may drop a few degrees before the sun comes up, but still going to be tracking that chance for at least 1 or 2 showers and thunderstorms. We're watching a few of them already over towards Brenham, also back down towards Caldwell, Snook, Somerville, but Bryan College Station at this time is dry. Wouldn't surprise me if you happen to see one, though, by the time we wake up later on this morning. We do have some showers, some thunderstorms down towards San Antonio. That's where the disturbance is that's going to be causing all this. We got a little fetch of moisture coming up the Gulf of Mexico. That's why you're seeing a few of those showers now across parts of the Brazos Valley. We'll keep at least an isolated, scattered chance of rain going through the rest of the day. Future track shows you we don't have much going on, though. The clouds will build in. We may have an isolated shower later on today, but by and large, it's going to be a small chance of rain. Not many of you will see it. Then we go into tomorrow, and we'll keep it in small chance chances of rain as well, just these pop-up showers and thunderstorms with the heating of the day. And going into the weekend, should see things try to dry out once we get past Saturday. But notice high pressure tries to build in, then backs off to the west. That's going to open in that Gulf of Mexico moisture by the time we head towards the middle of the week. We could bring in a few of those sea breeze showers and thunderstorms. But overall, not a substantial chance of rain showing up in the 10-day forecast. Highs today get into the lower 90s. I think we'll be closer to around 93 rather than the 80s you see here. Normally should be around 97 this time of year. We'll officially go for a high of 93, 20% chance of rain, 94 on Friday, 96 coming up on Saturday. Then we head into the weekend. We'll call for 97 Sunday and Monday. Going into the rest of the new week, though, temperatures climbing up towards 98, so it is going to be toasty once again. That little break we saw from the heat, it's over now. Here comes the heat again.
All right, thanks for starting your morning with us, Brazos Valley.
Have a happy Thursday. This is Good Morning Texas.